Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast, where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
Hi, and welcome back to today's Philosopher Byte. Today, the always inspirational and motivational Eric Thomas is talking real truth when it comes to finding the time to do what matters most and how your pesky cell phone may be holding you back. I really believe that Eric Thomas is spot on with this insight today. If you feel like you're lacking time for what truly matters, a good starting point is evaluating the hours you dedicate to watching TV or mindlessly scrolling through social media feeds on your phone. It's time to pay attention to these habits that can often consume more of our day than we realize, diverting our focus from more meaningful pursuits. One of the best ways that I've found, and I've mentioned this before, is to conduct a time audit and track every minute of every day for a few days. Most of you will be shocked by the pockets of time you are wasting. Here is Eric Thomas.
Emmett Smith said this at the end of the commercial. Emmett Smith said, all men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. I'm going to say it again because you might have missed it. All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. And when I went to college, guys were way smarter than me. 4.0s, 3.0s. They went to the Ivy League high schools, came to Oakwood from these great high schools. Most of them are not doing what I'm doing. Why? Because it's not about where you come from. It's about heart. You come to a place where, being smart ain't enough. You got to have heart. That's number one. Watch number two. Catch number two. I wrote it down. I wanted to make sure you got it. It says watch this. We're talking about sacrifice. The most important thing is this, to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. That's the number two thing. You got to catch that one. To be able to, listen to me, at any moment. Some of you can make sacrifices when Monday Night Football is not on. You can make a sacrifice. But when the game come on, for some reason, you just attach to it. For some of you, when your favorite show come on, you can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, bam, some of you focus until the phone ring. And then you like, I got to answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm going to die. I'm saying to you today that there are some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success. Some of you need to give up your cell phone because the time you spend on your cell phone could be used for your success. The time you could be using to be successful, you're using it on the cell. And the cell phone is not bringing you nothing but a bill. And somebody has told you you couldn't live without it. I'm talking about going deep now, giving up stuff. Watch what it says. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be.
Well, let's spend a little bit more time talking about the power of our everyday choices that for many of us is dominated by the mobile device. It's all about those little decisions we make each day that shape our lives. Like opting to dive into a good book instead of endlessly scrolling through your social media feed. Or whipping up a healthy meal instead of hitting up the drive-thru. It's about choosing a walk over a TV binge, sacrificing instant gratification for future growth. Now I want you to picture this scene. It's a gorgeous day outside. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and what are most people doing? Yep, in today's generation, they are glued to the phone, missing out on the beauty around them, choosing to be more connected to the screen than the outside world. Distraction is getting worse, not better. You won't believe this, but in 2018, they had to coin a new term for the fear of being without your phone. That's right, nomophobia. Yes, it really is a thing. The anxiety, stress, and panic that can arise when separated from our devices has now become a reality. We've become so reliant on them that it's affecting our well-being. I am sure everyone listening has had that feeling when you left your home without your phone, and you realize it well after you're on your way to your destination. Years ago, it was normal to drive away knowing you cannot reach anyone immediately. For the 10 or 15 minutes it takes me to drive to the mall nowadays, when I forget my phone, my mind starts thinking of all the bad things that could happen, and I won't be able to text or call my family. On its surface, it seems funny and somewhat ridiculous, but dig a little deeper, and this is concerning. I am so addicted to the device that I don't feel safe without it. Now, have you ever heard of the iPhone effect? I want you to picture two groups in a lab. One is chatting with a stranger with a smartphone nearby. The other is chatting with just a notebook. It's surprising to know that the group with the smartphone has lower quality interactions, even without notifications or it being their own phone. You heard that right. It doesn't even have to be your device, and it's destroying your connection. It's the mere presence of the phone, the device, that is impacting our connection. And that's the iPhone effect, showing how our devices can subtly influence our interactions and relationships without us even realizing it. Now let's jump to some parallel wisdom from Cal Newport in Digital Minimalism, where he says, quote, "Teenagers have lost the ability to process and make sense of their emotions, or to reflect on who they are and what really matters, or to build strong relationships, or even to just allow their brains time to power down their critical social circuits, which are not meant to be used constantly, and to redirect that energy to other important cognitive housekeeping tasks. We shouldn't be surprised that these absences lead to malfunctions. Most adults stop short of the constant connectivity practiced by members of iGen. But if you extrapolate these effects to the somewhat milder forms of solitude deprivation that have become common among many different age groups, the results are still worrisome." End quote. Now, let me throw in some statistics. Did you know that the daily time spent on mobile phones in the United States of America is projected at 4 hours and 30 minutes in 2023? That's up 6 minutes from 2022. Did you know that females tend to spend more time on smartphones than males? How about this? The average person in the United States spends about 2 hours and 15 minutes on social media daily, which is slightly less than the global average. And finally, children between the ages of 8 to 12 in the United States spend an average of 4 to 6 hours a day watching or using screens, while teenagers spend up to 9 hours. Wow. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Could the hours spent glued to mobile phones and social media be holding people back from achieving their goals or contributing to the mental health epidemic? I think the answer is obvious. Adding in TV watching time, and suddenly most people could reclaim precious hours in the day for much more meaningful and productive endeavors. Just imagine the possibilities if millions of people around the world redirected that time towards pursuits that truly matter to them. That literally could change the world. That is today's Philosopher Byte. You know, those phone companies, game apps, and social media platforms, they're all in on it, hooking you into keeping you glued to your screens. The more time you spend, the more cash they rake in, all by hijacking our precious attention. Your mission, if you're up for it, is to tune in, take back control of where your focus goes during the day. It's about reclaiming your power in the world that's constantly vying for your attention. Before we conclude today's Byte, I just want to say that I am still blown away by the listeners connecting from all over the world. I am grateful and humbled and honored, so thank you very much. Until next time, stay curious and keep embracing the wonders of knowledge. Talk to you soon. You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Landman. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.